Hello and welcome to the third and final screencast in the NetTuts Plus screencast series on how to create a WordPress theme from a Photoshop file. My name's Harley, and in this screencast we'll be focusing on converting this HTML template into a WordPress theme. If you haven't already, it'd be a smart idea to watch the first two screencasts because it catches you up to here. But basically we've gone through converting this theme on Themes for us, where you can find it and buy it here off iMac, through HTML coding and then the CSS, so that it looks like this. And now, as I said, we're going to be WordPressifying it. So I've got my tutorial installation of WordPress. I use a local host, so it means that I can run it offline instead of having to be dependent on the internet through this wonderful tool called MAMP Pro. If you are on a Mac, you can get MAMP or MAMP Pro for a nominal fee. I'm not sure how much, off mamp.info. And yeah, it basically runs like no frills PHP server on your computer, which is very, very handy because it means when I'm on the bus I can do my WordPress stuff, you know. And there's also a Windows alternative called XAMPP, I believe, but I haven't actually had any experience with that because I'm not a Windows user. So yeah, this is my installation. It looks pretty default because it uses the Brick theme. However, it's actually very modified already. Firstly, I've got my my posts that use the structure that we'll be using, because to get this image over here, we actually need to use custom fields. So in this tutorial, there's another lesson for you, how to use custom fields. So all three of these have custom fields that actually have this image, which is our, just our little preview image here. And also the sidebar is our modified sidebar. Now, like here, we've got categories, archives, and Flickr images. Just to say, we've got categories, archives, and Flickr images. So what we're going to do, just to install this quickly, is you need to go to doncha.wordpress.com/flickrwidget, and we'll go, where is it? SMV repository, and you just want to grab flickrwidget.php, copy it all, go to your WordPress installation. Here's all the files. We'll go WordPress content, plugins. Now we actually want to create a new folder. Well, or just has to be a PHP file, but I've already put it in, and here is our Flickr widget. So basically what it does is uses the Flickr API to get the Flickr things we want. Perfect. So once that's in your plugins folder, we need to go to our where is it? Excuse me. We need to go to our our plugins, and it should look something like this. We should go activate Flickr widget, and then it's on, and then when we go to appearance widgets, we can actually drag it in as a widget for our theme. Now this page will only show if you're on a theme that uses a dynamic sidebar. If not, you'll just have to wait until we give our blog a dynamic sidebar. Okay, let's jump straight into it. So we can close that and that. And yeah, so there's a theme, close that too. Okay, now the best place that I think to start, because we've got our HTML file right here, we will open it in our favorite editor, so that we've got it here, and we will begin turning it into a WordPress theme. Now, at the moment, it's probably not in your in the correct folder. So what we're going to do is we're going to open WordPress content, themes, and then what you've been working on in the past, you can grab and drag it into your theme folder. Now we'll probably just quickly rename it so that WordPress knows what it is. Green blog theme, and we can open that up, and there's our theme. Now if you try to activate it in WordPress admin, it won't work because we haven't defined some very simple things. So basically open style.css, and at the top, just give it some space. We are going to stick in a bit of code here that is just basically our theme name, which is green blog theme URI. Now, simply for iMike's sake, I'll grab that URL from the themes forest thing just so that iMike can have some publicity, because I said I'd give him some. Stick that in there. Description: a green theme for blogs, coded on NetTuts Plus. Version 1, author Harley Alexander, my website, Perfect. Now we have our meta information for our theme. So if you save style, it still won't show because this is still a HTML file. So if you can rename index.html to index.php, save it. Now if you go back to our WordPress admin, managing themes, green blog theme, there it is, a green theme for blogs coded on NetTuts Plus, which is exactly what we said here, a green theme for blogs coded on NetTuts Plus. So if you click on it, it'll look pretty ugly right now because the links and everything are screwed up because they're not relative anymore. So we'll just activate that and then go back to our iBlog, and there we have our theme, which is on the WordPress installation. So immediately what we're going to do is fix up the linkage to the style sheet. So we'll just, in the head, we're going to add the extra bit in here dynamically. So we use a WordPress specific function called template directory, which basically goes example.com/WordPress/WP content /theme/ the activated theme / and now we've got style.css. So if we save that and go back to here, ta-da! Automatically it looks much prettier. Now this image here isn't showing, and neither are these, simply because they are not here anymore. So what we'll do is you can actually just delete the Flickr image, and if you've created the posts using the blog image as the custom field, you can actually delete that now because WordPress copies it and puts it within the WordPress directory as well. So we've got our basic theme here. Now what we need to do is start getting all the little bits that are HTML and turn them into WordPress themes. So basically what we're going to do here is, because it's the pages, we're going to leave the home one there. I'll do that in a second, but just get rid of all the other ones and change it to PHP, open PHP tag, WP list pages. And now we're going to get rid of the title, because this way we can actually use our own custom unordered list structure. If you leave title out, title li equals nothing out, and go back to your theme, it looks horrible. See, look at this. It's just a mess. So what we need to do is leave title li there. And it still looks like a mess because I've got lots of subpages. So what we're going to do is we are going to, just for security's sake, we'll go depth equals 0, I think it is. Let's try 1. Perfect. There we go. Depth equals 1. And now we have our dynamic WordPress linkage page links. If you click on these, they won't actually do anything because they'll actually just look exactly like this does, because we haven't added any dynamic content yet, but we shall do that later because we create a specific template file just for pages. Alright, next up, I said I would do the home. So basically, because unfortunately WordPress doesn't include the home link in the dynamic links, we have to create our own one. So it's kind of like this, but instead of making it definitely class active, we have to use a conditional statement. So we'll go PHP if is home, which checks if the template is on the home page, which it is for now. We need to say echo class equals current page item, because that is what the active class is when or the like default active class for WordPress. So we'll close that off, and then if we save it, it isn't showing up. That's strange. Let me figure out why. If is home, that should actually work. Oh, I know why. Because I'm on this URL. If we click on home, which it doesn't actually have a link to because we haven't put the link in, of course. So replace our hash with PHP blog info URL, and then that automatically puts our dynamic. Perfect. There we go. Now, strangely, that is on the end and it's not dynamic, which I do not know why. Oh, I know why. Because firstly, these are all floated, and secondly, this is actually current page item we haven't included in our style.css yet, where we have, let's just search for it, active. Okay. Now we should probably change .active to current page item as. Still not working. I will figure that out later, because I actually have a WordPress clip right here that has all the information we need for the new code. So we'll jump back here, close that, and we'll move on to our hero. Now this is the title of the page, so we'll change hash home to PHP blog info URL because we want it to return back to our home page, and we can change my blog to PHP blog info name because we want the name to display instead of my blog. And also we'll change the just another blog to the description of the WordPress theme. Sorry, the description of the WordPress blog. Alright, if we save and refresh that, it now changes to iBlog Tuts and WordPress testing ground for tutorials, which is basically, I believe, what I have set as my settings general. Yep, WordPress testing ground for tutorials is the tagline or the description, and blog title is iBlog Tut, which is the name. Cool. That's it for that section. Alright, now here we have a RSS2 link. So what we're actually going to do is change that to another custom function for WordPress, which is RSS2 URL, which basically sends us to an XML file, which can generally be read by most browsers. I know Safari can because Safari is awesome. It's better than everything else. And that's that for that section. Let's just check it works. Refresh it. And click here. Feed. Perfect. There we go. There's our RSS feed for the blog. Alright, now we need to start putting through our own content through the post. This is where the loop comes in. So what we want to loop through over and over, which is basically go through a set number of times, which is set in WordPress admin in the settings page, is the whole post thing, because we want each post to display by itself. So just above the post, we're going to do the custom loop. Sorry, the WordPress loop, which is PHP if have post, oops, wow, have posts, the post. And then we also need to close it off at the end of the post div, because we don't want to loop anything else. And while and if. Whoops, we've actually got to split that up there. And also go else. Now this else area is basically what happens if there isn't a post, but we'll do that in a sec after we finish fixing up all this. Okay, so this post is what's going to be looped through a number of times. So if we, because it's looping already, it should loop through 3 times. Ta-da! There you go. There's already some WordPress magic going on. But now we need to insert the dynamic content. So instead of hash permalink, we're going to change it to PHP the permalink. Now the underscore functions can generally only be used within the loop, but there's a lot of them, like the author, the link, the permalink, the title, the tags, the category. There's a whole lot of them. So we'll be using the permanently. Now we need to use our custom field. So we go PHP echo get post meta, and we need to make it for this post. So we go post ID, and the custom field, like I believe, sorry, what's going on? Excuse me for this. There we go. Sorry about that. Now we have this green thumb here. Okay, this is a custom field, green thumb, which is blogimage.png, which is what we used before. Basically, all I did was upload the image and then grab the URL for that and stick it in here. So now that that's attached, we can go green thumb, and then true to it being a singular call. And then if we go back to our blog tut, and perfect, it's already there for us. So that is grabbed dynamically. I know it's the same because I've used the same image over and over, but if I did a different image for each post, it would show up differently, which is our very first WordPress postcode. Alright, postcode, get it? Anyway, next is the post meta. So we're going to change news to PHP the category. And we want to split each category up by an ampersand. So we're going to just go like that. And then if we refresh it, it now says blog, coding, flash, which are the respective categories for each post. Next, we need to do the custom date structure. Now, I do apologize, I've forgotten what it is, so I'm just going to sneak into here and grab it out. It is d-m-y. Perfect, that's very easy. So, now, if we used PHP the date, that'd create a problem, because say these two posts were created on the same day, and I used the date to get this information. The information would only display on this post simply because the date only lets one date be displayed for each day of the month, if that makes sense. So like each day there will only be one post that displays the date simply because that's the way it is. So instead we can use the time, which is more specific and displays the date or the time for each post. So we'll go here and change it to the time, whoops, and it's d-m-y. If we save it and refresh it, our new dates are in there. Perfect. Alright, and finally we get rid of the entire paragraph and just replace it with the content. Now we want the read more link to be empty because we've actually got a read more link down here. So if we just go like that, it puts an empty value for the read more link, which will still display for the code, but it won't actually show up because there's no content to display. Finally, div class equals bottom. This is the kind of like extra post metadata. I know we've got one up here, but there's more, and that's just the way it was laid out. So we're going to change that to PHP comments pop up. Whoops. Link. And okay, now with this, we can actually change how it displays each number. So we've got 0 comments, 1 comment, and then X number of comments. So we can do that by going 0 comments, 1 comment, and variable comments. But the it automatically, here, we'll just refresh that to see what it looks like. Okay, so see how it says 0 comments, 2 comments, 0 comment, and now we can't actually add them yet because we haven't done the comment template. But basically, we can change that around now. So we can just make it a number, or we can make it words. But the default is basically what we want, so we can just get rid of that altogether, and it displays it very nicely. No comments, 2 comments, no comments. Alright, Next is the read more link. Now this actually has nothing to do with the content, which is generally where the read more link comes from. But we will stick our own custom one down here. So basically it's just a perm link again. Which will save, and that's it. Now the custom dig link. Sorry, I do fail to memorize this off by heart, so I'm just going to grab it out of here. But I'll explain it. Okay, here it is. It's kind of big. Alright, okay. ahref equals dig.com/submit, which is the submit page. The URL is the permalink to this page, to the post we're linking to. The title is the title of the post we're linking to, and the body text is the excerpt, which is just X number of words from the post. So we can save that, and now should automatically link us to dig. So we'll click dig. Here we go. It's asking me to register because I'm not logged in at the moment, which is okay. What's the difference between those? Ta-da. Alright, we'll close that as well because that's HTML version. Okay, so now that we've looped through our posts, that is pretty much done. We have one last thing to tackle, which is the sidebar. Okay, so we will, oh, sorry, we forgot to do the else area. Now this is else there is no post to display, so basically no one's written anything. I'm going to copy all that, paste it in there, and we are going to get rid of a whole lot of stuff like the image, and we'll get rid of the entry, and we'll get rid of the post meta. Actually no, we'll keep that there because it's bold, and we will just get rid of the text in the bottom, but we'll leave the div there. Actually, you know what, we're gonna be nice and just type sorry. Okay, now inside the post metadata, we will change that to 404 error page not found, which will give them the general idea in bold. And then instead of the content, we're going to create another paragraph, say, sorry, the content you are looking for is not here. This means one of two things. A, WordPress has broken and the sky will fall on your head. Or B, nobody has posted anything that matches the URL you are at. Save it. Now if we go back, it won't actually display anything. However, we're going to use the same information on the 404 page, which we'll do in a second. Alright, sidebar. Now, once again, it's very hard code. It's not hard, but you know, I prefer not. So basically, we're just going to get rid of the whole sidebar, and I have some more dynamic sidebar. Gets there, I believe. Alright, now this is our sidebar now. So it went from a big list of 3 things to just a tiny weeny, to a tiny weeny little unordered list. Now basically what this does, if it checks if the function exists dynamic sidebar, and then just does the dynamic sidebar called green blog theme. Now this function doesn't actually exist yet, so what we're going to do is we're going to create a new file called functions.php, and mine opens automatically. We're going to type, I'm going to drag this little bit of code in here. If function exists, register sidebar, which is part of the WordPress core. We can do register sidebar array, and then we're giving it a name of green blog theme. So when we're in WordPress dashboard, we can identify it as green blog theme. So now that these 2 things are there, you can close functions.php because you don't actually need it anymore. And if you go here and refresh, we now have our green blog theme sidebar. So we've got categories, archives, and Flickr images, just like I showed you at the start of the tutorial. Alright, so now that that's done, we need to add some extra CSS. I do apologize, but we have to do so. So open style.css, scroll to the bottom, and I just have a clip for this. You can actually grab this on the written part of the theme, written part of the tutorial, but you know, I'll go through it anyway. Okay, so what does it do? Basically fixes up some of the navigation. One thing we forgot. My apologies. We need to, at the end of the post, which is here. Sorry, yep. We need to just go div class equals navigation. And I believe the function is PHP posts nav link. Save it, and if we, whoops, I've got to save the style sheet too. Refresh it. Okay, here we go. Navigation. Now this is a, see how it already looks pretty? That's because in here we have this, navigation. Whoops. Navigation. So we just make it the color it is, you know, give it some dimensions. We changed the link color to white. Now all this comments template stuff is for the comments template, which we'll do in a moment, but I'll go through that in a bit. Okay, header, current page item. Current page item is the class that WordPress used to tell you which page you're on when you're using WordPress list pages. Now, I don't think it's going to work for us here, but if we click on About Us, it knows that it's About Us, so it goes highlighted like that. Now, I have no idea why home goes to the end, which is very strange. So I will have a look. See what happens if we put it underneath there. Nothing. Perfect. Anyway, I'm not quite sure why that's doing that. I'm just going to retype it and see what happens. Alright, PHP is echo class equals current page item. Aref equals PHP. See if I can speed this up on the editing software. Alright, that's very strange. I'm not quite sure why it's not registering it as home, however. I'll just have a look at the code in here because it should have worked. Yeah, it's pretty much the same. I don't know why it's not working. Apologize, guys. I'll have a think about it. See if I can, you know, fix it up before the end of the tutorial. Now, stop speeding. Okay. Now that we have dynamicized our entire theme, we're going to start splitting it up into template files, which are basically things that split it up so that you can pull it back for use later or to display different information. So index.php is going to be the home page, and then for pages or specific posts, we're going to use page and single respectively, and then for 404 we're going to have its own page and yada yada yada. But firstly, we need to split this up into what am I thinking? Sidebar, header, and footer. Excuse me, I just had a complete mind blank. So we're going to go new file. We'll call it header.php. And we are going to select all the way down to the bottom of the header, the hero, because that's where the changeable content, so that's where the fixed content stops. So we'll cut that out, Apple X for me, paste it into header, save it, close it, and then in index.php we need to use another custom function, get header. If we save it, refresh it, everything should stay perfect. Next, we're going to do sidebar. So grab the entire sidebar div, including the clearfix, change it to PHP get sidebar, create a new file called sidebar.php, paste that in, save it, close it. And then finally for footer, we'll get everything underneath sidebar and create a new file called footer.php. Paste it in, save it, and then replace it with php get footer. Now, hopefully, all goes according to plan. Nothing should have changed. Which, ta-da, it hasn't. Yay, we're amazing. Anyway, I'm not sure why those Flickr images haven't updated yet. Anyhow, okay, so we have now done index.php, sidebar.php, footer.php, and header.php. Sweet. Alright. Now, because it is so similar to index.php, we're going to do archive.php. So create a new file called archive.php. Go back to index.php, copy the entire thing, and then paste it in archive. Now, instead of the content, we actually don't really need to change anything, because basically what archive does is it accounts for categories, archives, and search. So basically when any of those pages are accessed, this is the template file. Now, we're going to add a little custom thing. Instead of saying blog items, we're going to change it to php if is search echo search items for search results for else if is archive. This is a pretty extensible thing, but basically what it's doing is we are given, thanks to WordPress, we've given all these custom commands like this. Hang on a minute. Custom conditional statements, which is search, is archive, archives for else if is category echo browsing posts under. We've got to put a space, and then finally we echo WordPress title and close that PHP up. Now, I know that sounds like a huge amount of information to process, and I just kind of talk quietly through it because I need to concentrate, but I'll explain it now. If is search, it's going to say search results for WordPress title. Else if it is archives, it's going to say archives for WordPress title. Is category, it's going to say browsing posts under WordPress title. Now, WordPress title is a variable that we, I believe, use in title. Oh my god, we didn't change that yet. So we're going to change that to PHP blog info name, and then PHP title. Okay. Alright, so WordPress title is basically the information about the page that we're on. So if it's a search, it's going to display echo s. Now s is the variable for, actually no, we can make that even smaller. I like that. S is the variable for search results. So when you type something into the search on WordPress and then press enter, the variable s is saved as what you search. So if you search blog, it's gonna, s is gonna be blog. We have to grab that, stick that there, stick that there. Okay, and then archives for, it's going to say, you know, December, November, the 20th, whatever. And then browsing posts under is going to say the categories, so to be, you know, blog, flash, coding, whatever your categories are. Alright, so now it probably won't do anything. Okay, there we go. Archives for block quote. Perfect. Alright, that's all good. Now, so if you didn't quite understand it, I'll just run through it quickly again. If search results 4. If archives 4 is category, browsing post under. So basically, depending on the page, it's going to display some different content. Okay, we will get rid of the RSS to URL simply because we don't want to have an RSS thing for each thing. But actually, you know what? We'll stick it in there anyway. If you want, I believe if we go to /blog/feed, it's our feed. And then if we go /coding, it'll show us. No, maybe not. Okay, coding. Alright, category coding, feed. Alright, so it gives us our feed for coding, which is pretty handy. So, you know, just because we're good like that, we're going to actually, you know what, it's too complicated. I won't do this now, but that's a good idea for a tutorial that I'll cover later. So get rid of the RSS2 URL. Don't forget the closing header too. Leave that in there. Alright. So yeah, as I said, there's nothing that we really want to change to display on this apart from that bit there. So yeah, just save archive.php, close it. And that is our archives. Next up we shall do, how about we do 404, because that's, you know, a nice, cute little page. So we're going to go 404.php, which is the name of the thing. And then now, basically, we want 404.php to be a static page, okay? So we'll get rid of the entire loop, except for the else part, which we already put the 404 content in, and we can get rid of the navigation, and we can get rid of the RSS URL again, and change blog items to 404 page not found, and then change a small to an error occurred. And there's our 404 page, as simple as that. So you can close that, and then create a new file called single.php. Now this is for the single individual post. So we're going to jump over to index.php, grab the entire thing, paste it in. Firstly, we can get rid of the else, because if they're browsing this page, then they're definitely going to get rid of all that, and they're definitely going to have content to view. Secondly, we will get rid of the comments pop-up link and the read more. We'll leave the dig thing because they still might want to dig it. We'll get rid of the read more tags because it's not actually going to display anything. And that's pretty much it. Now we want to also add a comments template file, which I will explain in a second. But basically in here we need to get rid of the navigation link and change it to PHP comments template, which is similar to get header, get footer, get sidebar. This is comments template. So if you save that and let's go back here. Let's click on a theme. Okay, so basically it's got a default comments template file, but we want to create our own one because we want to style it differently, you know. But this is a single page, as you can see. We should probably change that too. So we'll go back here. Get rid of the RSS link and change header to PHP with that title. And then get rid of the small because we don't need it. Save it, refresh it, and then say net. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So this is our individual page. Now the comments thing is pretty ugly at the moment. So what we're going to do now, I'm not going to go through it because it does take a long time, but you will be able to download the comments.php file online. I'm just going to drag it in there off the NetTuts Plus, off the page that you're watching the screencast on, if you're watching it on the NetTuts article. But basically what that does, if we refresh it, makes it look a little bit nicer. because we've put our own stuff in. Now if I log out, I'm attempting to log out, but I can't. That's very, very strange. So, you know, I'll just go to WordPress admin and I'll log out. And you know what, we'll view this one because it's got a couple of comments already. Okay, so there we are. We've already got some comments there. Now it's already styled a little bit, but we need to fix up the CSS a little bit. So we'll jump into style.css. Now, of course, I'm such a silly boy. Now we actually need to wrap in single.php. We need to wrap comments template in class equals, sorry, div ID, because there's only one of them. Comments template. Get rid of that. Stick it on the end. Refresh. Still doesn't work. That's because the div is, did I say comment template or comments template? Whoops, I spelled template wrong. Template. Ta-da! Alright, now everything looks pretty. We've got our name, Harley, email, bafflink@gmail.com, website, bafflink.com, comment goes here. What a splendid website this is. I really, really like the green. Submit comment. Ta-da! There we go. That is the comments template. It's as easy as that. Alright, finally we have one last page to create, which is page.php, which is the individual pages. So because it's similar, we're going to copy all of single.php, stick it in page. Firstly, we'll get rid of the comments template. We'll leave a dig there because the page might be of interest, because it might be like a freebies page or something. But we know that we can get rid of the green thumb, so we'll get rid of that. And we can get rid of that too. And that's interesting. Now remember when I said the functions can only be used within the post? Because we're on a single page or a single post, the post ID is automatically put through, which is lucky. But if we put this outside the loop on, say, index or archives, then it probably wouldn't work. So we're lucky about that. So we'll get rid of that. And if we go about us, it doesn't have a background. Why not? That's kind of annoying, man. What have we been getting rid of that we didn't want? I think we probably should have kept the entry there. Coming in at an entry level position. Sorry. Alright, there we go. Now, see how it's only showing up on half the area that it can. We're going to fix that by going div class equals single entry. So we give it an extra class, and then we'll jump into our style, and we'll find the entry so we know what the code that we're using is. So it should be somewhere here. Or we can just search for it. Entry. There it is. Alright, so we'll basically just change the width to 606 pixels, I believe. So we'll go single entry width 606 pix. Save it and refresh it. There we go. Now it fills the whole thing. Now we can actually get rid of the uncategorized thing here too. So we'll jump into our page.php, get rid of the post metadata paragraph, refresh it, and there is our page. All perfect. Now this is quite long. I'm not sure why. However, we will try to dissect. But basically that is your finished theme right there. I hope you have enjoyed the tutorial, and you may stop reading now stop watching unless you want to watch this being restyled. Now it's already to some extent been restyled because it's got the border around. However, it is still being a wee bit screwy. So I thought I had already changed it. Obviously not. Look, I'm going to leave it because this is running very long and I don't want to keep you bored. But basically, because it's a table, which is very silly of the coders, it's very hard to code. However, it can be done. So just play around a bit, I'm not sure why that's over there either. But we've got our theme functioning all the way from this Photoshop file to this theme. I hope you've enjoyed this series. I'm Harley Alexander. Stay tuned for some more WordPress on NetTuts Plus.